Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great
Hello
day?
everyone, my name is Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is November 3rd, 2025. And are altcoins still bouncing? This is the question I've had in my email inbox all day. Are altcoins still bouncing? My quick answer to that is yes. And I'm going to explain exactly why by looking at Bitcoin and what Bitcoin's likely doing, looking at the others chart, looking at Bitcoin dominance. If that all sounds interesting to you, then watch it till the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it. Now, let's start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is completely uninteresting, but extremely important. It's always important because it sets the trend. It sets the trend for what the rest of the crypto market is going to do. If Bitcoin trends up, then we should expect a move to the upside. In alt season, we should expect a strong move to the upside. In Bitcoin season, we shouldn't expect much of a move at all in altcoins, but Bitcoin's trend is still important. And right now, it's still trending up. Why? How? All right, very quickly. We're just looking at a very concerted a a small channel. It's not a big channel. It's a relatively small channel, and we're right now at the support of the channel. That's the easiest way I can explain it, right? Obviously, channels break at some point in time, but right now, based off of what I'm seeing, we still have yet to make a move to the upside at channel's resistance at about 116K. This is what I'm expecting from Bitcoin. In that move, I am expecting altcoins to move big. Okay, so that's number one. Just basic support and resistance. Bitcoin's been hanging out here. Remember, this blue channel right here is a 100+ day channel. Bitcoin's come down, come down, come down, come down. I do expect it to bounce. I expect support to behave as support. That's the simplistic analysis. The more involved Elliott wave analysis is still that I see us being in a B wave or a counter corrective wave. When I say B wave, I really want people to understand A waves are initial breaks of structures. B waves are counter corrections. They're counter to the A wave. So they're corrections of corrections, right? So again, if you look at what we're doing in Bitcoin, we had October 10th coming all the way down to the bottom of this 100-day channel, and then we had a bounce, and that bounce is by definition our initial break of structure, or A wave. That takes us here. Ever since then, we've just been doing a bit of a dance here, okay? And that, to most market participants, is impossibly confusing, difficult, nonsensical manipulation. You've heard all of those criticisms, those terms, those descriptions for this kind of price action. But I think it's really helpful to think about B waves as being unpredictable, messy, like Real Housewives of Atlanta messy, like completely like off of the cuff and unpredictable, like yuck. You can't tell, you can't make heads or tails of it until it's finished, usually, right? That's the type of price action you should expect in a B wave. So when I came here in the previous episode and said, yeah, I'm still seeing us in a B wave, a nested flat correction, and I see this as being the B wave, and then all of a sudden the B wave does something I don't expect it to do. Does my trade thesis break? Absolutely not. Nothing's been invalidated, technically speaking. So if anything, I expected the unexpected. That's when you think about B waves, and I think this is really the power in understanding where you're at in terms of a price action environment. Think unexpected, think unpredictable, but still you want to do your best to track it. Because if you can track those, and usually, you're going to have to use, or you'd be best served using support and resistance. You can see here, you clearly have something here of a support level that you're at, right? And that's clearly resistance. So that's one that should indicate some sort of, all right, you're likely to bounce. But the other thing is, look, this purple flat correction is the larger B wave, right? That's the larger counter correction after the initial break on October 10th until the 13th. That's your A wave. Everything since then has been your big B wave. Okay, now let's talk mid B wave. Mid B wave is this yellow diagonal that's going upwards, right? I still think that looks something like this. Okay, I still think that looks something like this, right? And the smaller B wave, the smallest B wave, I believe, is what we're in now. So I think this is a B wave of a B wave of a B wave. Either way, I don't think it's as important to track exactly what nested B wave you're in, what degree you're in. I think at the end of the day, understanding that you're in a B wave that's nested, that's the first really important part of the analysis. And then the second is understand if you're at support or resistance. So should you expect to move up or move down? That's it. And then the rest, be fluid, be accepting, and track as best as you can to try and make sense and read dynamically. So this is what I'm doing, and this is why I do expect to move up to resistance at 116, and why even after that move up, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a move down and a move back up, because these nested B waves have to play out and complete their larger corrective patterns. That's Bitcoin. It's not interesting if Bitcoin did not set the trend for the rest of the cryptocurrency market. I probably wouldn't have it in the watch list, because look, you're just talking about a move from 106 to 116k. That's a paltry move. It's not that important. It's not that interesting. And this is such a restricted channel that you've been moving up and down in. It's uninteresting. It's only interesting insofar as it sets the trend for the rest of the cryptocurrency market. So again, if Bitcoin's likely to trend up on the small time frames, we should expect the rest of the crypto market to trend up. Now, again, and I've said this before, in Bitcoin season, Bitcoin dominance, or Bitcoin trends up, you shouldn't necessarily expect too much from altcoins, because it's Bitcoin season. They may not even move, or they may move just a little bit. But in altcoin season, when Bitcoin dominance is trending down, if Bitcoin so much as looks up, you may very well get a massive move in altcoins. So back to the subject at hand, this is what people have been emailing me about today, texting me about today. What the hell is going on? Are we still bouncing? Are we still bouncing? Are we still bouncing? My answer to that is yes. One, because Bitcoin's at support and is still likely to move to the upside. Two, when we look at our Bitcoin dominance chart, we can see it's likely trending down on the higher time frame. The Bitcoin dominance read is very important, and if you didn't make this read on a high time frame, I feel like you could be excused for being confused or being bearish on altcoins. You have to make the high time frame read to really understand how it's unlikely, it's very unlikely that Bitcoin dominance is just going to rocket up. All right, this, I'm going on the weekly time frame, and you're looking at this 850-day channel, right? This right here is an 850-day rising wedge. On the 10th, what happened? We rocketed up and retested the midline of this 850-day rising wedge. And immediately, we ran back down. Okay, so this is weekly time frame, so we know how it happened. Within a few hours of the October 10th capitulative move, we started already recovering. That's what you see here. Altcoins started recovering and broke down from this 850-day channel. And now, again, it would help to understand that we're looking at a B wave. We're looking at a counter correction. This is the correction. This is the counter correction. Okay? So A wave, B wave. And so if we're looking at a counter correction, understand, even if you look, however you look at this, you can look at this as a zigzag, you can look at this as a flat correction. The A wave, the initial break, is the direction that you're initially going in. The B wave is counter to the correction. The C wave is going to be in the same direction as the A wave, is going to be the resolving move, the resolving trend, where the chart wants to go. Whether this is a zigzag or a flat, it doesn't matter. You're going down. With a very high degree of probability, you're going down because that's the read. Okay? And this is more likely than not a zigzag, so a 5, 3, 5. You're dealing with an A, B, C, with the B wave coming between 0.5 and 618 Fibonacci retracement of that A wave. So if you go on the 4-hourly time frame, you can see it even better. Here, all you need to do, take your Fibonacci retracement tool from the top of whatever happened on October 10th, and you can see here that this B wave that we've been in, right, it's a counter correction, a B wave, it doesn't matter what you call it, has been going on since the 13th, okay? So, for what? 20 days now. More than 20 days. What am I talking about? Sorry, I'm blanking. Let's see. Yeah, around 20 days. Around 20 days. All you can see that it's been a bunch of noise, and then a move up to the phi ratio, the 0.5 and the 618, where all zigzags resolve, right? The B wave of the zigzag always comes to between the 0.5 and the 618. It cannot break the 618 if it's a proper zigzag. Again, a zigzag in Elliott wave analysis is a corrective pattern that goes 5 waves down, 3 waves up, 5 waves down. And that 5 waves down is your trend. That's the pure trend. This is the corrective trend, 5 waves, 3 waves counter to that correction, and then 5 waves. This is what I'm seeing in the Bitcoin dominance chart. So on the small time frame, Bitcoin dominance is bearish. On the high time frame, Bitcoin dominance is bearish. You are at 850 days of resistance. I don't expect 850 days of resistance to break so easily, not in a small move like this. I do expect this to break down. And so if Bitcoin dominance is breaking down, it goes back to what I just said. If we're seeing Bitcoin dominance likely about to trend down, where also we're seeing Bitcoin at a small time frame or mid time frame support trending up, we should expect a big move in altcoins. That's the thesis, okay? So Bitcoin dominance is telling us that yes, we should indeed expect a big move in altcoins, the move that we've been talking about. And last but not least, look at this others chart. All right, again, I want you to zoom out for a second just to understand what you're dealing with. This blue channel here is 500 plus days of price action. October 10th took us down to levels where we didn't see until July, or since July 24. July of 24 is, basically the low that we revisited on October 10th. And this is an aggregate indicator, so it's taking all altcoins into account minus the top 10 in market cap, of course. Okay, so I have this blue channel up and to the side, but you can also draw it or envision it as an orthogonal. And let's do this. You can look at it like this, okay? And one may say that this is the more appropriate read. This is the way you should probably have your others chart. Okay, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, this is a channel. This is a corrective sequence that can be constrained between a support and a resistance. October 10th took you to the support level of 500 days of altcoins going up and down within this blue channel. Okay, the bounce on October 10th and the subsequent high on October 13th took you to the midline, which is resistance. Okay, remember, any channel, when you're at the midline, it's resistance when you're below it, support when you're above it. We are currently, you could say, at the resistance of this 500-day channel. And what we've seen, let's now, like, I wanted to zoom out to gain perspective. It's so important to gain the high time frame perspective. Zoom back down onto the small time frames, and you can see the price action consolidating at the midline. I do not believe you consolidate at the midline to reject, nor do I believe that each and every asset is going to fill this, as, most wicks fill minimum 0.5 retracement. Because I think in a lot of altcoins, what you're seeing here is a sign of strength or consolidation at resistance to break resistance. Okay, so that's what I think you're going to see in the aggregate. I think most altcoins are showing you an SOS at this 500-day resistance, only to break it, retest it, and continue, because this right here, this price action that we've been experiencing since the 13th, right? You can see it here. Since the 13th, you've pretty much done this. Okay, and again, if you just understand corrective price action, this is quite simply a flat correction. There's nothing more, nothing less. It's a flat correction. I have it, I had it as a triangle, but to be honest, what today's price action show, I'm going to leave that upper resistance here because I think it's going to be useful in seeing the retest. But it's essentially a flat correction, an ABC flat correction where you went like this. So I don't expect this to continue to the downside or whatever. No, you're at resistance. Yes, you put in a lot of days fighting, consolidating at resistance. That's not bearish to me because you didn't reject off of resistance. You're consolidating at resistance, and so I can expect that resistance eventually breaks, given that you've consolidated at it for so long, since again the 13th, which is 20 days. Given what I'm seeing with Bitcoin, given what I'm seeing with Bitcoin dominance, given what I'm seeing on the small time frames in this price action, I think the next move is a move up and out, breaking the highs of this flat correction, retesting it as support, and then going on your merry way. That's the first move I'm expecting in altcoins in the aggregate. And what we experienced today, I'm seeing as that capitulative move of this flat correction that we've seen since the 13th. Okay, again, it's probably technically would call this a WXY. If you wanted to call it an ABC, you could be, you wouldn't be in prison for doing that. But it's a flat correction. It's a three-wave move. This is the capitulative flush. I think this is the terminus or the capitulative move of this corrective pattern that comes in a flavor of 3, and after which we should experience a move up, which should have altcoins go an average about 50%. 50% to the upside. Of course, some altcoins are going to do much more. Some are going to do just around that, a little less. But on average, 50% before you're seeing your next resistance, which is up here. Because that midline of 500 days has to be retested as support. Okay, because right now we're right under it. That midline on the small time frames even has to be retested as support. It's probably going to be retested as support on the higher time frames too. But that's what I'm seeing in the immediate short term, and this is sort of why I'm seeing it in the others chart. So guys, this is why I do believe we are still bouncing. And again, a bounce doesn't necessarily mean you hit your low and then you immediately move up. You sometimes see that in certain contexts. This is, what you see in an initial break of structure, but a lot of times a sustained bounce typically involves a sequence of corrective patterns on the small time frames, which then yields a larger sustainable move to the upside. Guys, that's it for me. Hope this was helpful, useful. Like, share, and subscribe. If you got value, consider joining my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service, where you can trade up to 5 altcoins with me directly. I help you choose altcoins that are actually going to move in this alt season, in this crypto bull market, and I help you identify high probability levels of support and resistance so that you can snowball your profits as price moves impulsively during the crypto market bull season. So you can sign up to that with the pinned comment or with the link in the pinned comment below. Last but not least, I also have a single asset analysis service where if you were interested on my take on any asset, any indicator, any stock, any commodity that has, chartable data, if it has a chart, I can analyze it. Just make the payment, send me an email with whatever you want me to look at, and within 24 hours, I'll have the analysis to you pre-recorded. So that's single asset analysis. The instructions on how to order that are also in the pinned comment below. Take care. I hope this was helpful, and I hope we get a move soon. Take care. Bye.
I vocalize, too deep to localize, even when I'm right on the surface. You act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi. I'll catch you later. Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages which help us manifest. Magnanimous, we body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind. Here's